Hello, welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time. Today we are going to make these Christmas ornaments. The balls, you know, those balls that you hang on the tree. And I wanted to show you how they all look different depending on the yarn you use and the hooks that you use. So I made each of these. This is made with a half double, and this is made with a single crochet. I made these here with some yarn that already has some tinsel or glitter in it, so you can get that little shimmery shine. It's hard to see on the white one, but believe me, it's there. um, this was made with a larger hook, with a J hook, I think. So I wanted you to see that. So you see how it came out a little bit larger with that J hook. So, and this one, what I did was I double stranded it with a thread, with an actual thread. Let me show you the one I actually have here. So what I did was I just double stranded it and crocheted the whole thing. See how you can see the thread there? And I'm gonna make one. We're gonna make one together, okay? So that we can see how simple. These are so simple that you are just going to make a whole bunch of them. I can see you just making a whole bunch of them. So let's go ahead and get started, and stick around until the end, because if you stick around till the end, I'm going to show you how to make this loop here, this hanging loop. Okay, it's not going to be added on after, it's actually part of the design. So if you stick around to the end, you're going to see how I made that. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and get started. All you're going to need is some yarn and a hook. Okay, and as I said before, the yarn and the hook will determine the size. So what I'm using is Karen Little Crafties. Okay, it's a little bit of a thinner yarn, and so I'm double stranding it. Okay, but these two right here I made with a regular yarn, a regular worsted weight yarn right there. Okay, just so that you can see the difference. All right, and then this one I made with a yarn, and I'm going to put the link for these yarns in the description, so that if you want any of them, you can go ahead and purchase them. So I'm going to double strand this, and I'm going to use an H hook. Okay, and again, remember, the yarn and the hook that you use will determine the size. So I'm going to start with a magic loop. And if you're unsure of how to make a magic loop, again, I'm going to go ahead and put a link for that in the description. I will put a whole playlist of the stitches that you will need. You are only going to need 2 stitches for this. A half double crochet, okay, this one, half double crochet for this, and then the single crochet for the top. That's it. Those are the only 2 stitches that you are going to need. All right, and a magic loop. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a chain 1 just to link it, and it's not going to count as a stitch. Okay, so in my magic loop I am going to make 8 half double crochets. So to make a half double crochet, you're going to yarn over, insert the hook into the circle, yarn over, and pull it through. Now I have 3 loops on my hook, and I'm going to yarn over and pull it through all 3 loops. And that's my half double. So I made 1, and I'm going to make 7 more, okay? Because we need 8. Now, if you want, you can absolutely slow this down so that you can see how I made that first half double. All right, so that's 2. And we're going to make this together because I want you to see how quickly these work up. Let me pull some yarn out. And okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I have 8 half double crochets inside my magic loop. And I'm going to take the tail and I'm going to give it a little tug to close it up. And this is our first round. Now we're only going to do 3 rounds and then we're going to be done with this. Super simple. So this is a great beginner's project, okay? If you just learned how to make the half double and the single and you want to do something more than just go across making a scarf, try these, okay? Okay, so now I'm going to join it with a slip stitch. So I'm going to insert my hook under that first stitch. I'm going to yarn over, pull it through the stitch, and yarn over and pull it through the loop. That is a slip stitch, okay? So this is my center circle, all right? So that completes round 1. If you like, you can go ahead and put a stitch marker in that last stitch, okay? And now what I'm going to do is starting in this stitch here, so we should have 8 half double crochets. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 2 half double crochets in each stitch around. So starting with this one, okay? So I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into that first stitch, and I will be crocheting over my tails. That way I won't have to weave them in. Okay, here's 1, here's 2. Okay, so there's 2, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that in every stitch all the way around. Okay, so just go ahead and put 2 half double crochets in each of those stitches. So we started off with 8, right? So we should end up with 16. And as I said before, I'm just crocheting over my tails so that I don't have to weave them in later. This is something I guess that you do when you're a little bit more experienced. So if you're beginning and you can't quite figure that out, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You can just weave in your tails later. Okay. So I don't know why I'm struggling so much. Okay. So I'm going to do my second one. It's very noisy out there today. Okay. So let's do another one. 1, 2. Okay. So let's go ahead and finish this. We've got a few more to go, and I'm going to put timestamps on the bottom so that if you want, you can go ahead and skip ahead to the next portion or round 3. Um, that's fine. But as I said, I just wanted you to see how quickly these work up. So I'm kind of doing it in real time. Okay, so we've got this one, and there's a ridiculous amount of traffic out there today. I don't know what is going on. Okay, here we go. And this was the last stitch from before, so it will be our last stitch now. Now, let me tell you something. These are ornaments. You know what? The stitch count is not important, okay? So if it doesn't quite come out to the exact number, it really is okay. This is why this is a good beginner-friendly project. Okay, so I made the 2, and I'm going to go ahead once again and put my stitch marker in that last stitch. And I made. Let me pull this way a little bit more. Okay. All right. And so I'm going to slip stitch it, close. And this completes our second round, and we only have one more round to go. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 1 just so that I can get the height a little bit better. And I'm going to make 2 half double crochets in this first stitch right here. Here's 1 and here's 2. Okay. Then I'm going to make a half double in this one right here in the next stitch. And that's the pattern. Okay. All the way around, we're going to do 2 in the next stitch and then 1 in the next stitch until we are done. And these are half double crochets. Okay. Now you can use any yarn that you like for this, as I said before. And if you try a larger hook, it's going to be a little bit looser, okay? If you try a thinner yarn, that's also going to make it a little bit looser. I wonder what they would look like with some chunky yarn. They might look adorable. And you can make them all in one color. I know sometimes people like to decorate their tree like kind of monochromatic with one color. Some people like to use all different colors. Some people like to use traditional colors, you know, just the red, green, and white. You can go ahead and do it however you want. And this is a great way to do it. You don't need to buy a big thing of yarn like this one here. You can go ahead and buy those smaller ones, like the ones that I have. That's fine. And you can whip up a whole bunch of these. As you can see, I keep looking. So that's 2. And here's the 3rd one. Okay, now let's try. I think I messed up somewhere, but it's not really that important. It really is not that big a deal. Here's 2. Here's 3. Oh, no, I did not. Okay, so I'm going to take this out. Okay, I have 2 stitches left, so I'm going to go ahead and do 2. 1, 2, and again, it's not perfect. If the stitch count is not perfect, it is not the end of the world. Look at that. Already done. Look at this. Already done. And I think that was, well, with this part, okay? So we're going to go ahead and do the next part. So I'm going to slip stitch it here to complete my circle and finish it. I'm going to grab my scissors, cut that off, and look at this. We are done with the circle part. We have one more part, and then we're going to be done. Okay? So let's see what color. I think, yeah, I'm going to give this to my grandson. So he specifically asked for the white glittery yarn. Again, I don't know if you can see it, but that's what he asked for. So I don't have a needle. So let me show you a quick trick. Actually, I do have a needle, but I just want to show you this quick trick. You want to weave this end and you don't have a needle or you don't feel like getting up and looking for it because those things are small, right? And you're going to keep them safe for when you need them. Here's what I do. I'm going to insert my hook from front to back. I'm going to grab that little tail that I have there and I'm just going to pull it through all the way through. Then I'm going to insert my hook in the next stitch, under the next stitch right there, from back to front, and I'm going to pull it through. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Now, it's okay to do that with something like this, right? Okay? Because, you know, this is an ornament. We're not going to wear this. I guess if it's going to be an article of clothing, you might want to go ahead and grab that needle if you can. But look, it's woven. It's all inside. Not a problem. Okay? All right. Now let's go ahead and attach this color here. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to find a spot, and I am going to make it over the part where I wove in my end. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to insert my hook from front to the back. See, like that. Then I'm going to grab the yarn that I'm going to attach, and I'm going to let it hang out there. So this is the tail. The tail is in the back. It's literally hanging, and I'm going to get ready to just pull it through. Okay, now that's a little bit long tail. I can go ahead and pull this to make it a shorter tail. I think you can see the yarn now. You can see the shimmer. Okay, and I'm going to chain 1 to lock it in. All right, so now I'm going to make single crochets. I'm going to make 4 single crochets. Okay, so in that same stitch, again, I'm going to crochet over my tail. So I'm going to yarn over and pull it through. I have 2 loops, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull it through. That's my first single crochet. I'm going to find the next stitch, and then make my second single crochet. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make 4 single crochets all the way through. Okay, here we go. That's the third one, and that's the fourth one. And if you don't like the way they look, you can put them in another place, okay? And if you want to make this larger, you can. You can do 5 or 6. And if you want to make it narrower, you can go ahead and do 3. This is up to you. This is your thing, right? So I'm going to go ahead and chain 1. And I'm going to turn. And then I'm going to make my single crochet in here. Just like that. See? And then for this one, I'm going to go ahead and make another row of single crochets. I'm going to keep going. Okay. I'm going to grab that last one right there. There you go. All right, I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to turn it. Look at that. Okay, so this is going to be our last row. So we have 3 rows for our circle, 3 rounds, and 3 rows for our little rectangle that goes up on the top. So we're going to do our first stitch. We're going to do single crochet. Okay, and then for our second stitch, we're going to do something different. Okay, so we are going to insert our hook as if we are going to make our single crochet, but we're going to take this finger and grab the yarn that's behind and then yarn over. So I'm making a loop with this finger, and then I'm going to pull it through, let go of my loop, and complete my single crochet. Okay, and that's going to give us our loop. I'm going to do that one more time. Okay, so I'm going to pull that out. Okay, and let me show you that one more time. I have a video on how to make the loop. So if you just want to see how to make the loop, it says scarecrow hair. So don't think you're on the wrong video. It's the correct video. So I'm going to insert my hook as if I'm going to do a single crochet, but I'm going to pull the yarn a little bit with this finger, with my right finger, and make a loop with it, and then pull it through. And then I'm going to complete my single crochet. So now I have the loop that I need, right? And I don't have to add it on later. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to complete this row of single crochet. So I made 3 rows of single crochet. And you can go ahead and finish that off or weave in your ends, and there you have it. And I have some other lovely ornaments that I can show you how to make. We have this one, which is a wreath. I also have this wreath. I got some cool Christmas trees. So you can go ahead and click on any of these links here, and you can go ahead and make those. And look at this. We are done in way under 20 minutes. You have made an ornament, a ball ornament. Okay, I will see you in the next video. Te veo. Bye.